Hi everyone, it's December 3rd and it's Allison here with Lavender Village Arts and Crafts. Let's get into the advent calendar. I try to do this every morning before I leave for work and then that puts me in a happy mood. Okay, here's number 3. Ooh, it's a long skinny box or window, I guess it is. Let's see what's behind window number 3. Could be a die. Could be embossing. Oh, it's a die. Pretty die. So it looks like it's 2 pieces. You got the outline and the inside. So let's grab some cardstock and my Big Shot. Bring that in first. Open up the little packet. So you see it's, oh, interesting. Okay. So that's the bottom. So you could do like you could do a scallopy edge maybe on a card. Okay, let's get a little piece of cardstock. I got my Crafty advent calendar kit here with, or kit bag here with all the sort of leftover bits and pieces. How big is this? Probably, let's get an A2 card here. It's probably an A2 card size. It is. Okay. So I'm going to trim my cardstock down to 4 1/4, or as close as I can get it. Just using scraps here. Oh, we got, our magnets are not cooperating. So let's tape that there. Actually, let's just cut that first. Okay, so that you can use that to give yourself a nice little scalloped edge on your card. And then let's say you wanted to have the top be all scallopy too. I realize because I've got other little die cut shapes in this, it's not going to be a sort of perfect representation, but let's just see here. Okay, now that does cut out. Okay. And then, this is why I like to run my dies through at least twice. And this one looks like it's going to need a few more times to get those middle bits out. So I wonder, you could maybe use this to cut a piece to go behind. Or you could layer it on top. Hang on one second. Okay, I'm gonna run this through again. Just gonna cut this out. Now that I know it's sort of it's gonna give me a standalone piece. Let's just run it through a couple of times here. I'm also working with extremely old plates that are a little bit warped. So not necessarily going to give me the cleanest of cuts. Let's see if I can get it to pop out properly. I need something pokey. Oh yeah, that's so much better. Look at that. And then if we grab another piece. So let's say you're making a card and you want to have a decorative edge. You can sounds a lot worse than it really is. There we go. So you got like a decorative edge, and then you can add this on top. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so that is December the 3rd, day number 3 of our Crafty Advent Calendar. I will see you again tomorrow. Bye. I had an idea. Let's see if it'll work. I used the die and the papers from the Stitchmas add-on kit, and I have cut it out of various colors of the cardstock from that kit. And I thought if I could layer them up kind of like how I'm doing right here, it would give kind of a cool effect. And then we could use the stamp from day number 2, put a little sentiment on there, and make a card. Once I have all these sort of glued down, I will use the border die and create a little border, maybe even top and bottom. We'll see how it goes. And then I can mount it onto a card front. So, or a card base, I mean. So let's get gluing. This is going to be a little bit tedious because it's a very delicate, intricate die, but let's get started. I've got my acrylic blocks ready to go, and just putting teeny tiny little dots of glue. What could make this process go faster, and now that I'm starting to put all this glue on, I'm kind of wishing I'd done this, is to actually, you can get big rolls of double-sided tape, and if you actually put it on your paper before you die cut it, then it basically turns into a big sticker. Okay, so I'm going to keep gluing all this. I'll come back once it's all glued, okay? My dies are all glued, so I will die cut this edge in a minute, but first I wanted to stamp and do some sort of rough watercolor with the stamp set from day 2, and I pulled out my distressed oxides that roughly match the colors of the cardstock. I'm going to do this in black. I think this is the one that doesn't react with water. Could be wrong. We'll find out. Okay, so the colors that roughly match the cardstock. The light green, oh, well, let's start from the top. Okay, so the red is sort of a festive berries, and then this pink is pretty close to picked raspberry. This one is not really a kitsch flamingo. It's sort of muddier than that, but it's also not really like a spun sugar or any of those other colors. So I went with kitsch flamingo. This peachy color is pretty close to dried marigold. I don't have a good match for the mustard. I don't have a yellow that is mustardy enough, but I have gone with mustard seed. And then this one is practically a dead ringer for Twisted Citron. And that one is pretty close to Modelon. It's a little bit darker than Modelon, but it'll work. I don't think it's really going to matter a whole lot. So I'm going to start with my leaves. And I'm just going to put a little bit of ink on my mat. I don't need a ton because there's not like a ton of leaf. I'm going to put a little bit more of the Modelon. And then I've got a water brush with water in it. And I'm just going to start with the lightest one actually. And I'm just going to sort of start painting my leaves. I'm not doing the full leaf because I want to add my darker green. This is like the most forgiving watercolor ever because it really doesn't matter. Any more leaves? This one. Okay, and then we're going to come in with my mowed lawn. And I'm going to go back to my twisted citron in a minute. This is a fairly fine tipped water brush, which is quite essential when you're doing sort of detailed things like this. I prefer this to coloring with markers. I just find this is a bit more forgiving, shall we say. Okay, so I still got the darker color loaded onto my brush, and I'm going to go into the light color, and I'm in essence making a third color. And then I'm going to come back in and just make sure that all the parts of the leaf are colored in. And I'm sort of going over what I've already put down just to blend it. Now I will just take a simple baby wipe and clean this off. Clean my desk as well. And we just want to kind of squeeze a little bit of water out and try and get all that color off the brush tip. Some of it will stay, like just be stained a little bit. Now it's time to go in with my pink. First though, I'm going to dry my mat. I thought I had a white pair, I don't. While it's okay to add water to your oxides, and that's highly encouraged, it's not necessarily okay to dip your oxides into water. Okay, so there's my festive berries and my picked raspberry and my kitsch flamingo. My dried marigold and my mustard seed. I'm just going to get them all down. And I'm going to start with the festive berries this time. And I'm going to go darkest in the middle. And then I will add a little bit of sort of, I don't want to call it shading, but just touches of the darkest color onto other parts of the flower. Then I can mix in all my other colors. So I'm not coloring the whole thing in this color. We're just sort of prepping it, shall we say. Okay, now on to the picked raspberry. And we're just gonna sort of work our way around this flower here. Add in some of the darker color, and it will mix in with the reds as we do this. And as we lay down color on top of what's already there, it darkens what's already there. It helps add great depth to the whole thing. And now we're going to come in with a lighter color. I'm going to actually clean off my brush a little bit. Pick up that kitsch flamingo. I do want to add some of the orange to these flowers as well, which is why I'm not coloring everything just yet. Kind of looks like a hot mess. That's okay. Okay, we're going to come in with a dried marigold. So you can see that my paper is warping. This is just regular cardstock. I could have used watercolor paper or Vicky Bouton's Foundations paper if I didn't want it to warp like this. But I just grabbed what I had on hand, so I'm not like super worried about it warping. And now, last but not least, we're going to come in with a touch of yellow. Great thing about oxides is that, yeah, they mix, but they also sort of sit on top of one another a little bit. Okay, I'm going to leave that as is. Wipe off my desk. That's got to dry. So while that's having a good dry, we can die cut the card. See if this works the way I was thinking it was going to work, or hoping it's going to work. So it's streaking a little bit, so I might have to detail cut that. That's not a problem, we can do that. Okay, I need to bring in my trimmer. I need to make some space. Get my inks away. So the piece of cardstock was cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'll show you 4 1/4. I have aligned this right to the edge on this side, and I was hoping that I'd be able to take off about 1/8 of an inch. Not quite, so we're just gonna position it. My trimmer has the wire, so I can see exactly where I'm trimming. You know what, I'm just going to see if I can zoom in, center. And I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a wire in there, so I can see exactly where I'm cutting. And then I'm just going to trim it. So now it's equal on both sides. And the theory in my head anyways is that I can use this other piece to die cut along the bottom, maybe even the top, and have that scalloped edge around the bottom and the top, if I can do it. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do now. I've got a piece of washi here because I'm not confident this will stay put. Just gonna give it one pass. Should be enough. Ooh, that worked. That looks pretty cool. Let's see if we can do the top. Yeah, that looks pretty neat. Don't know if it's lined up so you can do the sides, though. No, it's not. Okay, so I'm going to put my Big Shot away. And this will sit on my card like that. And then my sentiment and everything will go in the middle. Get this stuck down. Trying to decide if I want to pop it up. I think not. I think I'll just lay this one flat. It's got quite a bit of dimension with all the die cuts anyways. where the center is. Normally I totally eyeball it, but I have been known to mess up, and I didn't really want to mess this one up. So I just took off one piece of tape and then got it centered and then took off the rest of the tape. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to hit this with a heat gun. So I'll do that and I'll come back. Just finishing up my detail cutting, and I don't know what scissors you guys use. The best pair of scissors is the one that is comfortable in your hand. I love these Spellbinder scissors for most other things, but for the detail cutting, I really love my Tim Holtz little mini snips. And they are super sharp. They're sharp all the way to the end of the tip, which I find some other scissors don't cut all the way to the end of the tip. This cuts right to the end of the tip. And they're nice and light. The blades won't, like glue won't stick to the blades. So yeah, I highly recommend them. And they're comfortable. Like they've got a nice squishy handle. So anyways, if you're looking for a new pair of detail cutting scissors, these are my go-to. Okay, so I decided that if I was going to be detail cutting this, I needed to have it backed on something. So I just went through my nested dies. I found this scalloped rectangle nested die. Might be a Spellbinders one. I'm not sure. It's been in my stash for a while, but I liked how it mimicked all the scallopy edges going on there. So this one I'm going to pop up. Let me get my foam tape. And then we will mount everything on top of it. Oh, actually, before I foam tape that, I need to stamp it. Okay, so my stamp sort of fits, but it's tight. So I thought I would try and separate it. The stamp says sending good thoughts. So I thought I could try and separate the word sending and then good thoughts and have the flower in the middle. The way to do that is you have your ink ready. I'm going to have some washi tape ready. And I'm going to ink up the sending. This is a great thing about having the clear acrylic stamps. So I've just inked the sending part. And I'm going to put my washi tape over top there. Center this in the middle at the top. Try and make it as straight as possible. Stamp that down. Oh, made a mess. Flip it over. Okay. Ink. Tape. Gently stamp. Better. Okay. Remove stamp or remove washi tape. Stamp the rest of the sentiment. Replace washi tape over the bit that we've already stamped. And stamp at the bottom. It's a little bit there, but I think we can probably hide that with something. Okay, so you can do that. That's one way of getting multiple colors of ink onto your project as well. Let's add some pop dots to the back of this. And then so this is just going to go in the center of my card. And then this will go on top after I get all these backings off. Okay, So now I was wanting to add some sparkle. I don't really have any gems left from the add-on kit. I do have on my desk in front of me a whole lot of Nuvo drops. So I think I might just add a little bit of sparkle. I want to add it to the middle of this flower. Add some sparkle just into the center of the flowers. And then we can add some drops. And then that gets hidden, our little boo-boo. There we go. So that is another idea. So that is the stamp set from day number 2. This is the die set that we just opened. Fun. All right, I will see you again tomorrow for day number 4. Thanks, guys. Bye.